0.5% increase. You know, so you can really fine tune a 50 cal because of like the massive powder charge. It's like you can fine tune the powder to the point where the case capacity is going to change velocity over your powder charge, which is kind of funny if you think about it. It's like most of the time, you know, it's the other way around. The powder charge will change the load more than your cases will. But with a 50, I mean, you can fine tune down to the 10th of a grain, and you're literally you know, more precise in your powder throw than you are with than what the cases are as far as case volume. Okay, get this last one charged up here, and then I will show you how much is in the case versus where I'm seating the bullet. And another thing, we're shooting bench rest as well. You want to go for a almost 100% density, a load density, if possible. If possible, you want to go with almost 100% load density, because that ensures you know that let's see if we can't get this in there and in focus. There it is. You can see the powder, it's up in the neck. It's up in the neck to about right there. And if you look, it's about where I'm seating my bullet. So the powder is going to sit right where that little line is. So they're going to touch. So I'm still not compressing the load. But we're at 100% load density for the 222. Now, some people might say, well, is that unsafe? Is it unsafe? And the question is, only if you're going to pick up the answer is only if you're going to pick up my 222 ammunition and shoot it in yours. You know, my 222 from CZ, for whatever reason, has a throat like the Grand Canyon. You know, it shoots absolutely amazing, but it does have a very long throat. And it's got a shorter overall length. You know, because the magazine is actually designed for the 222 case length. It's not the standard 2.26 overall length of a regular 223, which is kind of weird. You know, it's one thing I thought, you know, CZ, like, why would you make a special length magazine just for the 222? But then I realized that they didn't make it just for the 222. That's the magazine that they use for, or the magazine bottom metal that they use for the 17 Hornet, the 22 Hornet, the 221 Fireball. Just so happens that the 222 overall length fits that one as well. So, there it is. There's the first 25 loaded up. And we'll be back when I switch out the tack. Alright guys, we're back. Got everything set up to run. Pardon me. Got everything set up to run the next batch. We're going to start at 23.5 grains of tack. And we're going to go from there. We're going to start at the back and work our way forward this time. So I've got one powder charge. I've got one charge in the pan already. Now this one honestly probably doesn't need a drop tube, just because it's a fine ball powder. Let me show you this ball powder. You know, 4198 a stick. This stuff is a very fine ball. I mean, it's just a tiniest little mess. But this stuff has given me the most absolutely wonderful loads in my 223 with heavy bullets. Just absolutely amazing. I looked up pressures on Ramshot's website, and even their max load is only running 48,000 pounds. So if I find a load with this charge, you know, I will still be going pretty easy on brass. You know, just because, you know, my maximum pressure is going to be rather low. You know, these up here with the 4198, my pressures are going to be up in the 55, 60,000 pound range, which is fine. But the case volume is way off compared to the 4198. You know, like 23 and a half grains barely comes up to, you know, the neck. Right? It's coming up to about right here, which got a frog in my throat, which, you know, is fine because that's the characteristics of the powder. You know, we really don't need that long. So we're at cancel 23.7. Set that there, and then we'll hit dispense once I get the bullets seated. Back in the day with the 222, some of the powders that people really went with that worked well for them were BLC1 before they got rid of BLC1 and made BLC2. Then you had H335. You had 4895, 4198, 4320. You know, a lot of those older powders, you know, 3031. There's a lot of powders that basically, and it's a testament to the 222. You know, if see there, I'm gonna get that one up in there straight. Pretty much any powder combination you put in it tends to work well, you know, and they work well enough that people used all flavors of powder and different primers and every combination known to man to okay, it's 23.7 to get excellent results and win all kinds of matches. I mean, it wasn't until just recently that the World Bench Rest was it the 300-yard group was beaten, and it wasn't but a couple years ago is when that was done, and that record was initially held by the 222. And before that, I believe it was the 219 zipper that held that honor. 219 zipper is basically a 30-30 neck down and blown out. I've always wanted to do one of those, but there's not very many bolt action rifles out there nowadays that can be easily modified to run a 30-30 case. You know, the Remington 721, if I ever found one in 30-30, would probably be my go-to. I would have switch barrels for that gun that did everything from 30-30 to 375 Winchester, 219 zipper, 219 Donaldson Wasp, 225 Winchester. You know, 730 Waters. I mean, I would just go to town on something like that. But, you know, what do you do? Okay. Now hit stop. 9. Get these seated up. Now, if I actually do decent in this competition, in this bench press competition, I'll probably wind up buying myself a set of not RCBS, but Redding custom competition neck sizing dies, and an RCBS micrometer bullet seater for the 222. Just because okay, and let's hit dispense on 23.9, just to see if that helps groups any. Of course, the way I do my reloading is very, very simple. It doesn't matter until it matters. A lot of people look at me like, well, what do you mean by that? And it's quite simply put, I've made some absolutely wonderful groups and loads with a Lee press and Lee 6.5 Creedmoor dies, which are just out of camera. And, I've shot, absolutely wonderfully with the base, Hornady brass. I didn't buy anything, fancy. 143 grain ELDXs or 140 grain ELDMs. I'm a very big proponent of, shoot what you got and see if it works before you go out and buy a bunch of craziness.
He's not at work. Hey, you know that Deals and Glitches website?
I go to Remington.
Well,
yeah, she posted this, and I wanted to come show you. It's a ceramic.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like the 2 skillets, but this is also a skillet, but it's
a deep
the deep one, and then the pots and the lids and everything for $44.99. It's from JCPenney, so I can have it shipped to the mall for free.
Okay.
Just pick it up. But I know we need skillets. We don't really necessarily need pots, but it wouldn't hurt to replace.
Mommy, that's the right tablet.
Yes.
Well, if you want to.
So what you been up to?
Stuff. And things.
Are you videoing or are you live? Texting it. Have fun making your. What time do you leave?
What time is it?
11:14.
A little bit. All right. So I live in a wonderful home with my wonderful family. So I'm going to have to tell you guys, interruptions are going to happen. So that's just kind of the breaks. Okay. Now that was the row of 23.9. So we're going to jump up to 24.1. And then 24.3 and 24.5. So we'll get this wrapped up here shortly. I know we've been going on for about almost an hour. But thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. As far as guys that watch and are interested in stuff we do. I know this is kind of a slow process, but I will take you along when we go to the range and shoot this stuff, because I'm sure you guys are just as interested to see it as I am if you've watched this far. So we'll get these guys loaded up, and then I'll mark everything down, and then I may even use a different powder with this one. I might pick up a third powder just to kind of use the remaining cases here. Just to use the remaining cases. I might try some BLC too. I've got a bunch of it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll probably load those off camera and just show them to you when I get to the range. But now you guys know we need new pots and pans at our house. My wife is one of those people that just absolutely loves these websites where she can go on and she finds glitches and stuff. And she's bought some crazy stuff for like almost free, So I try to let her go with that kind of stuff, because she's a beast when it comes to that. Second, I don't want to tell her this, but the more she saves, the more money I have to buy reloading stuff with. That's always important, right? Okay, put my pan back up on there. Oh, wait, it's going to dispense. Hold on. Oh, while it's doing that, we can measure one of these, right? See if we walked any. I would have to say we have not walked any. That's a 0.5 off from where it was previous. So we are golden. So let's change this to 24.3 spins. And what's nice is if you forget to change your setting, you can always with the powder in the pan, you can always just bump it up a little bit with this RCBS Charge Master. Absolutely wonderful. We'll get these. We have 9 more to do, and then we'll end this out, and then I'll bring you along for the shooting portion of this. So just to recap, for those that might have forgot, I'm running CCI 400 primers, not bench rest, just CCI 400s. I'm running Norma brass, Sierra bullets, and IMR 4198 and Ramshot tack. Somewhere in the middle here, I'm going to have to load up something for these remaining bullets here. One thing I absolutely love about tack. And in fact, I don't know if it's going to mean anything, but I dumped this powder a little fast, and it's actually higher up in the case than I want it to be. So I'm going to dump this one nice and slow into my other case over here. That's why we use a drop tube. And that settles that powder down exactly where I want it to be, even with everything else. I don't know if that density, if there's a density thing that would change my extreme spreads or my standard deviations or anything like that, but why chance it? When I can just move one powder to another case and then slowly dump. See, I dumped too fast on that last charge. Good, those look all the same. So I'll just let that in there. It's going to run off another one. My overall length is still good. The only thing we have left to do is check all this. In the rifle itself. And I only have to put it in the magazine because there's nothing, literally nothing, that I can put in the magazine that won't feed in the chamber itself. It's absolutely gargantuan. So 24.5 dispense. 24.5 dispense. There we go. This will be our last row of 5, and then we'll be done. And I will say something that absolutely wonderful about Norma brass. I didn't, I had not bought, Norma brass until now. They've always had an excellent reputation. And I said, well, let me purchase this, and then I'll trim it, chamfer it, deburr it, and all that fun stuff. Guys, when I got this brass, every piece was within 1,000th of each other. So I just completely, forewent the trimming portion. All I did was resize them, full length size them, because you have to do that with all new brass. They need to be full length size to make sure you have consistent neck tension. It's not about where your shoulder's at. It's about consistent neck tension. So I full length sized them all, chamfered and deburred them, and started loading. I mean, they are that good. Now, once I get through my load development, the brass should grow consistently once I pick the powder and bullet that I'm going to run. Because if I'm consistently running the same bullet, the same powder charge, the same brass, the same everything, your cases are also going to grow consistently. So that's one of those little tidbits that a lot of people don't think about, and it's also why people throw away brass by the lot. When 10% of their brass starts to split the necks and stuff like that, then a lot of people will throw that brass away. I personally don't like to do that because I'm going to turn this off. I don't personally like to do that just because I think it's wasteful. So I'll retire the brass. I will, I will retire the brass, and then I will instead use that brass for shooting groundhogs and what have you. And if a piece of brass has a bad neck or whatever, if I'm shooting a groundhog at 200 yards, I've got a 6-inch target. So if I get a piece of split brass, I'm still going to hit my target, mortally. And then when I get home, I'll just throw that piece of brass in the scrap container. That's normally how we do it here at the house. Same with deer hunting, because I've tested brass and I can't really come across any reason to throw away an entire batch if we're just doing deer hunting, or any form of, close range hunting. I don't prescribe to the notion of hunting, at extended ranges, even though, I have firearms that are capable. And it's not because I'm some FUD, it's just because I don't trust myself well enough to, to make those shots on a game animal. Now, groundhogs and whatnot, I'll shoot groundhogs. But I don't know if it's a respect thing. I just have more respect for deer, I guess, in general. But anyway, guys, enough of my ramblings. We've gotten the loads worked up that I wanted to get worked up. And we're going to, conclude the video today. I will see you guys on the range when I'm testing this in the CZ. I also have these loaded up. And I'll have these loaded up with the 53 grain hollow points. And another powder. Probably, like I said, probably BLC2. Or one of my other powders I got around here if I can find that it's a suitable fit. So anyway, we at the Firearms Convention really appreciate you guys watching our videos. We appreciate, everything you do for us. So if you wouldn't mind, giving us a like or subscribe, let us bring content to you that you're interested in. Let us know how we're doing, what we're doing, what you'd like to see. And join us at the Firearm Convention on Facebook, where we talk about everything gun related, where it's, no matter what it is. In fact, I would say projectile related, because we've had guys talk about spears, atlatls. We've talked about, everything from muzzleloaders to varmint rifles to bows. We talk about anything gun. And it's a great place to be. Great bunch of people that hang out there. And we really appreciate, all the guys we have. So anyway, I appreciate what you guys do. Like I said, give us a like, subscribe. And I'll see you around. I'll see you at the range. But until then, everybody be safe. And, stay friendly. My little thought for the day. America doesn't need more people being ignorant with each other. We need more unity. So hold the door for somebody you might not. Do something for somebody nice today. And, spread some enjoyment throughout the day, no matter what it is. It might be something small to you, but for somebody else, it could be, the thing that changes their day. Never underestimate what you as a person can do for somebody else, even if what you think it is very small. And I say these things um, from the bottom of my heart. I truly believe it. And like I said, guys, we'll see you next time.